Opens up the championship round and basically shooting with a spare ball.
Well, the lanes are hooking more, especially on the right. And this ball goes straighter, and we saw how much it finished there to leave the 4-pin. So Walter Ray, who's very, very versatile himself, can throw it straight and hook it. As he throws it this spare, he kills the shot completely and actually changes the roll, where the roll moves from outside the thumb to slightly inside the thumb, almost a perfect full roller, but it'll nick the thumb hole on occasion.
Which would help it straighten out even more.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be rolling hard to knock down one pin. Just has to hit it like that, even on a bounce.
Bumps away, and Walter Ray opens with a spare in the first. Our 5 television finalists averaged just a little better than 217 on this particular pair of lanes throughout the week, and individually, Jess Stayrook averaged 225.
But we talked about him playing inside during the week, and it looks like on the first game anyway that he's going to play outside.
Gets a handful on the opening shot. Ball comes up just a little bit light. In practice, every one of those shots just came screaming back, so the oil's beginning to carry down.
And that's what happens. The ball, again, acts as a transport. It carries that oil from the front of the lane to the back of the lane. That oil begins to build up, and the lane actually gets tighter as we go along.
So should you, if you're a player in the championship round and you get a very good reaction in the first 5 or 10 minutes of practice, should you just quit practicing your strike shots?
It depends on the individual. I know a number of players have done that in the past. Earl Anthony used to do that. Ooh. He practiced the spares, though, Den. Jess Stayrook holds that ball down. He's a power player. See that first step with the right foot. Now the ball starts even late in motion. It's almost a 3-step approach. Real short next to the last step. See the right arm out for balance. Not a lot of knee bend there, Den. When you see short backswings like that, though, usually that means that the player is accurate.
John Mazza was kidding with Jess Stayrook during the practice session. He calls him meat hook because of the way he's so strong, throws that ball, gets all the roll. He can turn a little bit.
Yes, he can.
Turns this one just right, and he strikes on the left-hand lane. His opening strike here in the championship round.
When Walter Ray first came on the tour, he used to hook the ball as much as Jess Stayrook on the other side. But he's opted for a more straighter approach the last number of years and has had great success with it.
You heard Walter Ray say carry. Now, this is the problem you get into when you use the type of ball he's using right now. You're not going to have nearly as much pin action, so you're going to be able to hit the pocket, but you might not necessarily be able to strike.
Well, what you're doing is he's picking a lower surface friction bowling ball. He doesn't want the ball to bite as much because the lane is hooking so much that it's going to not provide enough friction to bring the ball in there. But you're going to get a couple of 10 pins here and there. Of course, you leave those with any bowling balls.
Mm-hmm. Hold dead eye, dead on the 10-pin on lane 16.
As it rumbled down there.
Well, this is a bit of a rematch, Michael, because these two faced each other earlier this year in the title match over in Erie, Pennsylvania, and Jess won that match 256 to 207.
Another one of those many defeats that Walter Ray has had since 1987.
What an incredible record. I mean, he was one of the, well, he was 1986 Player of the Year and came back in 87, had a solid year, and since that time he's bowled for 12 titles and has yet to win one. I mean, when is that streak going to end?
You keep thinking that a player of his caliber, it has to end any time now. But amazing, you know, it's not like he's been bowling bad every time. His opponent's been shooting big games at him. A tremendous lift that he has there and accuracy out to the first board and solid in the 1-3 pocket.
Came up light the last time, not this time. Beautiful adjustment, and Stayrook now doubles and leads by 11.
It looked like all he did was swing it more. Send it further to the left, but keep it on the lane. Takes an 11-pin lead. A lot of the young players, this is their types of adjustment. They don't necessarily move. They throw it wider. They move their eyes. Instead of looking at the 3rd or 4th board, they'll look at the 2nd board.
Well, that ball's hooking about, what, 15, 16 boards in the last 10, 12 feet?
Correct. Again, the pocket's on board 17. It's getting out to right around the 2nd board and coming back.
But it's at the 2nd board at 50 feet.
Whew. Just like I always used to throw it.
Yeah, if you were shooting the 10-pin, maybe, or the 7-pin. A 3-bagger for Stayrook, who has the hot hand early on. He leads by 21 here in the opening match. And we talked about some of the great Hall of Famers that have already won here in Tucson. There's Mr. Bowling in 1962. Good friend of yours, Glenn Allison, came back and won in 64. And the Tiger in 65. That was a memorable Tucson Open. And who could forget the great one, Johnny Gunn. Ray has a strike in the third, but is trailing by 21.
Well, a couple strikes and he's right back in the match. This is what match game play is all about. You have to respond to what your opponent does, and can't let him get too far ahead.
Ball rumbles around. He left the 10-pin the last trip, and this time he shakes him up for the strike and the double.
Interesting how those light hits sometimes will carry better than the pocket hits. Not that it's not in the pocket doing that. 5-step player, holds the ball waist high, now pushes it out. Basically right in time. The head goes a little bit forward. Backswing a little higher than the shoulder height. Nice long slide. And that unorthodox finish.
Powerful, though, and on line. What an accurate player. Revs this one up and a little bit too much. Perhaps he got a little too juiced up and left the 3-6-10.
Well, what he got there is what we call the overreaction. He got that to the first board, and that first board banked back and banked back too hard.
Walter Ray shakes the head, realizes that the one board is not where he wants to be.
At least not that early on the lane. Three, 6-10 cross lane. He'll rumble this one too.
Close. And there's a look at Debbie Newkirk, who is Walter's sister. She lives here in the Tucson area.
You see the family resemblance there.
Mm-hmm.
As we see this ball, if it hadn't hit the thumb hole, he never would have made the spare because he didn't get very much of that 3-6.
Stayrook works on the 3-bagger and a 14-pin advantage.
Boy, what a nice reaction he has. Just sends it out left of that first arrow, and as long as he trusts it and gets it off his hand clean, it comes back.
What a reaction at 50 feet.
Power, a lot of power. That ball covering that many boards in the last 10 feet of the lane.
Well, he has to be a very strong player because he's using virtually no momentum leg-wise to get to the line and or hit the ball with leverage.
Or swing-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, because he has such a short backswing. There we see the scoreboard, 24 pins. Trying to get his 5th in a row to bump it up to 34.
Well, that's inside the target.
Yep.
And he
what do we have?
The price.
The 2-4-6-10. You know, it used to be when you hit there then that you left the 2-4-7 or the 2-4. Now when you hit there, you get company with it. So the way he wants to try and convert this is move to the right, get the ball into the oil, hit that 2-pin on the left, and slide it into the 6-10. And we can see the ball has been getting out to the first board. He's 4 or 5 boards right of where he wanted to be at that point. And there's the result. This could turn the match around. And 7 out. So a disastrous frame for Jess Stayrook. Suddenly he's only 4 pins ahead. How quickly it turned.